What if I told you that the biggest departure for the Dallas Cowboys this offseason wasn't Micah Parsons?
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
Okay, probably not, but it does look like the Cowboys might have let another legitimate star walk this offseason by not opting to re-sign running back Rico Dowdle. To be fair to Jerry Jones, Dowdle definitely has been a late bloomer. After going undrafted out of South Carolina in 2020, injuries and a crowded running back room led to Dowdle carrying the ball just 7 times in his first 3 seasons with the Cowboys. That workload started to ramp up in 2023, but it was 2024 when Dowdle finally had his breakout year, rushing for over 1,000 yards as a featured back for Dallas in a down year for the Cowboys. Instead of giving Dowdle an opportunity to show off what he could do in a healthy Cowboys offense, Dallas opted to sign a pair of veterans this offseason in Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, while taking Jaden Blue out of Texas in the draft. After the Cowboys decided not to re-sign him, Dowdle ended up going back to the Carolinas to sign a 1-year prove-it deal with the Carolina Panthers. But even the Panthers didn't realize the kind of player that they had, putting Dowdle in a secondary role behind established starter Chuba Hubbard. That's kind of the beauty of football, however, because an injury to Hubbard led to a massive opportunity for Dowdle to show what he's made of over the last couple of weeks. Over the last 2 games, Dowdle has shredded opposing defenses to the tune of 389 rushing yards and another 84 receiving yards.
Lightning fast, big black cats, Panthers kicking ass.
He became the first player with back-to-back games with over 200 scrimmage yards since Le'Veon Bell in 2014, and his 239 yards against his former team last week were a franchise record for the Panthers. It's clear that this game was going to mean a lot to Dowdle playing against his former team, because this is what he had to say in the week leading up to the game.
But to do this right before y'all play Dallas was just kind of like a message, like y'all should.
Oh, for sure. They got to buckle up. I think they know for sure. I've been there 5 years. They didn't keep me there for 5 years for no reason. I definitely would say that. But looking forward to playing those guys next week. We'll get to it. We'll handle that when we get there.
You'll hear about undrafted success stories from time to time, but rarely do you see this combination of being a UDFA on top of a late bloomer in the NFL. So let's dive into the tape of Rico Dowdle from Sunday's win against the Dallas Cowboys to explain to you how he's become one of the biggest breakout stars of this season in today's episode of Best Available. Thank you for watching today's video. Make sure that you are subscribed on the YouTube channel and follow us on socials at Best Available YT. If you want to find another way to support Best Available, consider becoming a member. There are details to that in the episode description. But let's dive into the film on Rico Dowdle to give you a better sense of what this kid is doing right now. This has been one of the most fascinating film studies I've prepared for, because I think after watching this, you'll understand 2 things. Why Rico Dowdle is playing so well, but also why he went undrafted. And I don't mean that as a knock on Rico Dowdle, but you can kind of tell that, we've watched a lot of running backs on this channel. He probably doesn't have a lot of the athletic tools that a lot of these guys have, whether it's burst or agility or play strength. I do think he has some play strength. But despite those things, he's still a very, very productive back, and we'll see why throughout this video. So we're going to start with this first play, and it's going to be a pretty simple one, right? We've just got, it looks like duo or inside zone. My instincts want to say duo with the way the handoff is going, plus, we're seeing attempt to double team here, double team here, double team here. That's telling me duo versus inside zone. And with the way they're stepping. If everyone was stepping in the same direction and we were seeing guys climb, that's typically when you'd see inside zone, plus the handoff footwork. That's besides the point. What we're trying to watch here is Rico Dowdle break that tackle and then just keep falling forward. And that's going to be a common theme of this. As he breaking off 40-yard chunks, he did against Miami. In this game, it was more about just consistent chunk plays. And this is a really awkward angle to get tackled from. And the ability to stay upright right here. This is a great job by number 8 on the Cowboys, or number 2, sorry, to fly downhill, can't finish the tackle. And then the balance to just keep the feet moving, even from this really awkward angle, to keep picking up, 7, 8, 9 yards is a very successful play. Thanks to that contact balance, but just willingness to just, whatever it takes, keep going downfield. Nothing too crazy with the way that the Panthers have their run game going, but there's some little wrinkles. Like we're going to have this orbit motion here just to draw the eyes, and then we're going to have kind of a counter. There's not really any guards besides the only person pulling is this tight end into space. So you'll notice counters with a jab step by Dowdle, and then he's taking off this way. So that's just the play we got. Setting the guy into orbit motion. We're going. Only one puller. It's this tight end. Dowdle takes his counter step, and then what I appreciate here is just this patience to let this set up. Like right now, theoretically, 2 unblocked defenders coming downhill. He doesn't really know, do I cut up here? Do I cut up here? Instead, he just stays patient, waits for these 2 blocks to develop. 82, I believe that's Tommy Tremble is doing a nice job with this one. And then we're just staying patient. 87 gets a hand on, and then we're just taking off behind 82, who's winning that block. That's a good example of patience with vision. You don't want to hesitate. Like, it's such a fine balance. Whenever I think of a lack of vision and hesitancy, I think of Trent Richardson with the Indianapolis Colts. But it's that balancing act of knowing when you have to be patient. This is a good example of that. Like, is there anyone else in the backfield? You got this chip, so there's some kind of clock here, but he reads the block well and then just goes right through it and picks up 12 yards out of it. On a play that just looks kind of messy. You're like, we got a lineman on the ground, we got another lineman on the ground here. Like, this is all just kind of a mess. But, instead of trying to bounce something or get too cute with it, he's just following the blocks and just north-south. North-south is going to be the theme of this episode. Take what you can get as long as your momentum is carrying you, vertically instead of horizontally. Too many guys would try to bounce out or cut back. He is just all business is just I'm going straight downhill for, again, 12 yards. Really, really successful play. If you've ever heard the concept crack toss, this is a great example of it. And I just love utilizing, willing wide receivers in the run game. So we're looking at Xavier Legette here. Yes, it's a good run, but just the importance of a crack toss. This is kind of what you want from this block. Is it a pancake? No, but what I want here is this end, who's so ready for a pass set or to, just engage with this blocker. You crack him with the wide receiver to create a rushing lane. So what we're going to do, we got that, and then the left tackle is going to pull around to get into space. And then this wide receiver, you can see right here, is just trying to seal this off. And as we keep this rolling, he does that great. You're just using this defensive end's momentum against him. It doesn't always have to be pretty, but you need to make sure this is sealed off and walled off on the D end. By the time he realizes it's a toss, you've got this wide receiver sealing you down. You can't change your momentum in time to recover and get back to the running back. So that's a little bit of what a crack toss looks like. And then we've got a nice job by the guard to climb into space and find a block, and then the tackle to pull. So look at number 70 and 77. They do a great job of getting out, finding space. Nice job by the guard. And then we have the right tackle, and that's creating that seal in that rushing lane for another big run. This one's not so much as Dowdle's just ability. He finds the cutback field, but I wanted to throw out just, we haven't talked about a crack toss concept on the channel yet, and I just thought this was a nice job of doing so. We've even got the center, walling off here as well. The left guard, number 60. Good job of his eyes seeing that guy, and then we're creating that wall. So again, 77, 70, 60, all doing a nice job of creating that seal for that big run. We talked a little bit about patience and hesitancy, but hey, man, sometimes when you see that hole, you just got to go north-south full speed, right? Too many guys are just waiting for the home run ball. I think this is a nice job here. We're not going to have a much more open rushing lane than this. Maybe this guy's getting into the backfield. His momentum will not get to us in time. And it's just, again, at the NFL level, you don't have rushing lanes like this. So once you see it, just turn on the jets, get what you can get. Nice job using the offhand right there on 27, and then just lowering your pads, through a safety to continue picking up chunk yardage. Too many guys here, maybe not star NFL running backs, but I've seen so many running backs in my day, hesitate at the open rushing lanes. Maybe they panic because they see a guy in the backfield. That's pretty common, especially with younger running backs, but it's just that willingness to see that and go full speed. And again, you notice he's not a home run hitter. He's not going to make a guy miss in space from here, but man, is he just consistently being decisive, getting north-south, picking up what he can get, and you're just seeing play after play, 7 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards, 8 yards. These are keeping you ahead of the sticks at all times. They're very valuable plays in the run game. I love this one because we've talked about bouncing things out, and sometimes it is necessary. you're going to see as we go here, look at how just crowded this box is, right? This edge is set. In theory, this edge is set, but he's kind of collapsing in. We've got 2 blockers fed up on this guy, and then we've got, we're theoretically going to have a free linebacker, but all of this is muddy, right? This is all crowded. Dowdle bounces this out because you can see helmets inside here. Our end man is walling this off, so there's no longer outside contain here, right? This defender cannot react outside. He's not extended, anything like that. So it's a good decision by Dowdle. But what I really love here, so many immature running backs would just try to bounce this outside and keep bouncing. But after bouncing outside, again, all business. He's going straight downhill again. And maybe it's just because he's worried about here. But again, like so many running backs I'd see when they bounce outside want to try and make this guy miss and then bounce outside more. Dowdle just knows what he's capable of. And it's just, I've bounced out and then I'm going straight back north-south. And that's, again, look at how many more yards they're picking up again. This ball starts at what? We'll say like the 45-ish. This yard marker right here. And he ends up, bouncing. That's 5, 7, 8, 9. Again, 9-ish yards, 8 yards. This is just consistent gashing of a run defense. We've got another crack toss concept here, and I like how they, changed the eye candy here. If you're going to notice, they're going to put the tight end in motion, and then they're going to run this. So we're going to have another crack, but unfortunately, we have a rookie wide receiver here in Ted McMillan who, having a fine year, would like a little more aggressiveness on this because this leads to issues on this play. But now we have the guard pulling instead of the tackle on this crack toss. You can see Ted McMillan, number 4 on the outside, is a little passive, a little tentative on this block. Kind of catches it instead of, I think that would help seal off a lot of this. But at the same time, we're still getting a successful toss play. And then Dowdle has a great feel on here. Things are a little muddy. Feeling that cutback lane on the toss. Does a nice job there. And the problem is just getting tripped up by that heel. If he doesn't get tripped up here, this might be taken to the house or close to it. Because we still have another block downfield. But it's a nice job of feeling like that's another field thing for a running back, especially one that's, played enough football. Feeling, this guy, if I keep running this way, is going to stick me. But if I can use the momentum of this block as they're going this way, and then use the momentum here, this is going to set up this blocker for success as well, which is exactly what happens. And then, yeah, we just trip on that heel. Otherwise, we have an even bigger play, potentially a touchdown. So much of playing running back is feel, and this is a good job for Dowdle to understand when a play might be dead. Got it right here, and by the time he realizes, hey, this 54 seems to be getting penetration, this linebacker is not going to get blocked up if I'm going this direction. This side is blown up. The line of scrimmage by these two guys has been reset, into the backfield. So he recognizes all that, reverses course, changes direction, forces Kenny Clark to miss a tackle. And then he takes off, and maybe not as north-south, but he's still getting positive yards on a play that should have been dead to rights. I mean, if you watch this side of the line, they're just getting pushed back here. Way too far into the backfield for my liking. And yeah, good decision by Dowdle here, like realizing my direction and my momentum is forcing the defense to all flow over this way. This linebacker scraping over, this linebacker, we have no contain this way. Nice vision here to understand when a play is dead, just when to cut it back. Again, he understands he's not the fastest or most explosive running back, so he needs to be very strategic of when he does this, but this is the right time to pull this move out and get some yards out of, what could have been a blown-up play. We haven't shown you any passing concepts. There were a couple check downs for Dowdle where he made some positive plays, but I thought this one was really interesting. So we're going to have this kind of, jet return motion, so he's going to go back around and behind the quarterback on this one. But what I really like here, play fake, right? We're going to have this, what looks like a crosser. We're going to have a drag. But then watch Dowdle through the backfield. We're running like a seam, maybe almost a wheel through the A-gap, which, is a pretty rare thing to see. This linebacker maybe should have read it a little better, this one as well. But they get so focused on the tight end because of, I guess, maybe where Dowdle's coming out of the backfield right here. But no one's prepared for it. It's a busted play because of, I don't know how many concepts I see where we have the running back. If a running back's usually running a wheel route like this, he'd be on this side of the ball and he's going, outside the line of scrimmage. But to run the play fake into it is a very interesting concept. And we've got that right here. So again, play fake through the A gap down here. Linebackers bite on this check down throw, probably because Bryce is off pocket. That's where his eyes are going. But then he just sees that wheel. I love that play. It's a really nifty design. And obviously the Cowboys broken coverage is partially on them, but I enjoy the concept quite a bit. Awesome for Dowdle to get a touchdown, get some revenge on his former team. At this point, we've been seeing Dowdle just gash the Cowboys defense time and time and time again in this game. And what you're going to notice is that really sets up this jet sweep right here. We have this motion. This wide receiver is going to get the ball. You're going to watch the steps from Dowdle, but watch what this does on these linebackers. Their feet are in the mud right here. We're going to leave this guy unblocked. He's going to fly to Dowdle as well. All that momentum, by the time they react with the ball, these guys are out of position and going to be easily blocked up on this jet sweep. And all it takes, especially if we show it in real time, especially at the NFL level, all it takes is a half second of hesitancy to create a seal on a jet sweep. And that's an awfully nice job by the Panthers wide receiver on the play. Because they're even reacting motion-wise to bump out against the jet sweep, but their eyes are still just focused. I mean, you can literally see it right here. Eyes are on the backfield. Eyes are on the backfield. Just getting caught in mud again for that split second at the NFL level. And if Dowdle's not running the ball effectively, this play is a much more easy one to snuff out. But because he's been gashing the Cowboys the whole game, it can lead to that extra tenth of a second of pause that makes the jet sweep a successful play off of it. We've talked a lot in the past about wide receivers manipulating DBs with, their eyes and shoulders. A running back can do the same, especially on an outside run like this. We're going to have this pulling guard right here and then Dowdle. And I want you to notice where his shoulders are pointed, because we're going to notice here, his shoulders are basically pointed that he's running this way, right? And the guard's pulling. By doing that, we're forcing these linebackers to keep spilling over, right? They're so focused on outside run. His shoulders keep telling me, along with this guard, they are trying to run this outside. But by using those shoulders, by the time he's cutting back upfield, everyone's so worried about him washing, outside, that we've created this rushing lane just by being disciplined here and cutting this upfield and just getting another big chunk play. Maybe the guard has something to do with it. You can definitely see the reaction times from the linebackers reading guard, right? They read guard and they are spilling over immediately with the pull. So that it plays a factor for sure, but it's also that shoulder manipulation to keep, his shoulders are pointed to outside run to force them to flush out, and then he cuts upfield for another big gain. Nothing about Dowdle's game screams flashy running back. But man, is this guy just extremely consistent with his process, and that's why he has back-to-back 200-yard scrimmage games. Not every play has to be a home run, and if you want to have one of these big games, you just need these consistent 7, 8, 12, 15-yard runs. And by the end of a game, defenses are so gassed and demoralized, you can really gash them by the end of a game. Dowdle's shown that he can be a workhorse. I believe he had 31 carries in this last game. It's just an awesome story. Awesome to see all the things he's doing as this undrafted guy from 2020, whose career could have very much flamed out. But now, on this one-year deal, he might get a legitimate extension or, either with Carolina or a multi-year deal elsewhere. So let me know what you think about Rico Dowdle. This is a fascinating story to me. We'll be back next week on Monday with some reactions from the Sunday games. We'll do our Shades of series again next week. So if you're enjoying the videos, again, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and we'll see you next week. Take care.